here's my question for you. In 2011, when you, I believe, went back to South Dakota, and then you wrote the book there, I presume, in 2014, did you think it could get this bad? Could you have projected the future up to where it is now, or down to where it is now?
Some of it, certainly. But, you know, there's craziness that I think I am not alone in being unable to predict. The treatment of children for transgender stuff, I don't think any of us could have predicted that 10 years ago. It's so horrifying that you just couldn't imagine that this would actually happen. I think I was clearly on top of my predictions of what social media was going to do. But looking at Jonathan Haidt's new book about the damage to children, no, I didn't see that it was going to be that bad as it actually is. In other ways, I think I was predictive of how bad it was going to get.
That's why I think you were a prophet. What would you say if I said you were a prophet? Is that too strong?
I wish it was reflected in book sales.
Yeah, but yeah. You were ahead of the curve by several years.
The summer of George Floyd, right, which was what, 2020? Mm-hmm. That summer of the George Floyd stuff, so 5-6 years after the book appears, David Brooks in the New York Times mentions the book. He says, I'm going back to Jody Bottum's book.
Yeah. Yep.
And then Ross Douthat did a whole column in which he said, when the book came out, I thought it was interesting but somewhat abstract. I now realize it's the most prophetic book of the last decade. That I didn't see. I thought he was reporting. I didn't realize he was predicting. And I thought that actually made the book take off again. The sales went back up, and I had lots of interviews there, especially in Europe. The French, for some reason, are just obsessed with this. I think the Ross Douthat column interested Laurie Mandeville at L'Express in Paris, and she did an interview with me, which has become a touchstone in France. I think because secretly, these French people want to say, well, you see, he says it's a Protestant thing, and we were never Protestants, so we are going to escape wokeness. I think, which is, they're in for a very bad surprise. But I think that was the reason I took off in France. I think I did successfully predict what was going to happen when these kids stopped being, willing to accept the kind of hypocrisy of their parents that, we all believe this stuff, but we don't want to do anything about it. Because you're saved by knowing that you're a good person. You're not saved by actually doing anything. Well, once that breaks, then you get the excitement of protest and the excitement of rebellion, and it all adds up into really bad stuff.
As I said earlier, I read it in 2021, and so then I was probably talking to Mary and trying to figure out the summer of 2020, and I felt like it explained it. The thing when I look back on it a little bit is I realize all that you say in there about the poster children is completely true. What I don't know is in terms of the property destruction in the protest movement across the country, which was as bad as the 60s. You didn't have Watts fires and so on.